Almost 6 months after succeeding President Hugo Chavez as president of Venezuela, the nation's economy still looms large for Nicolas Maduro. A continuing decline in oil exports, the country's main source of revenue, has created a shortage of cash that's led to rising prices on food, drink, and other basic staples. Several sectors have felt the consequences of the economic stagnation. The education budget has been particularly strained. Demonstrations have been taking place for years of the low pay for professors at universities, and it's also affected the quality of the curriculum. As correspondent Markovits tells us from Caracas, even though a dialogue is underway with the government to resolve the faculty pay dispute, the campus crisis is still a big cause for concern.
State university tuition is free in Venezuela, so why are these students taking the streets of Caracas? They demand more funding for their schools, an increase in their monthly allowances, and higher wages for teachers. Enyo Cardozo, a political science professor at Venezuela Central University, struggles to get by despite having postgraduate degrees.
Before, a professor earned approximately 20 times the minimum wage. Now a professor earns maybe 1-2 times minimum wage. We are talking about associate professors and full professors, which are in the 4th or 5th pay rate. These people have dedicated 15 to 20 years to the university. These people have PhDs or postdoctoral studies.
High inflation is really affecting the salaries. Both a police officer and a university professor make on average $300 a month. But it is not only the salaries. 18 universities stopped classes in protest of low budgets. Here at the university hospital, the buildings are deteriorating, the windows are broken, and there is a lack of medical supplies. Another victim of the university's budget woes. This is the campus of the Universidad Central de Venezuela, the country's largest and most prestigious public university. Home to over 50,000 people, among its alumni are 19 former Venezuelan presidents. But in the last few months, this sprawling campus has also turned into a battleground that at times has gotten violent. But students like Tamara Suarez, who have campaigned on the side of increasing the budget, have endured the violent face of the highly polarized debate for university reforms. Suarez remembers that it was midday. She and her friends were having lunch when she was confronted by a group of young people.
There were 6 of us in the facilities of the student center, and that's where they attacked us. I sustained injuries to my head, abdomen, legs, and I couldn't move my neck to the right side for 2 weeks. And I was hospitalized.
These photos show Suarez's injuries right after the attack. Tammy's incident was just one of dozens reported in which armed groups entered the university to violently attack professors and students who have gone on strike. Here are the burn marks of a faculty office that was set on fire last June at Venezuela Central University. According to witnesses, masked men on motorcycles were responsible for the blaze. Luckily, no one got hurt. The Venezuelan Constitution established free and universal education from preschool to college for everybody. Venezuela spends 10% of their GDP on education. But with a growing student population, it is not enough. While Finland spends $10,000 and the United States spends $15,000, countries in Latin America like Mexico spend $4,000 and Venezuela around $2,000 per student every year. This is Juan Enrique Senes, an opposition student leader that has been very vocal about the need for more funds.
My father received 400 bolívares when he studied medicine at the Central University. With his monthly allowance, he paid room and board, food and transportation, and had money left over to save. Today, university students who receive 600 bolívares don't have enough to pay for half the room and board.
The government has also created a new parallel university system in which a dozen new higher education institutions have been built across the country. Here at the Bolivariana University, images of Hugo Chavez and other leftist revolutionary leaders adorn the walls. The government has been criticized for funding these institutions with money from traditional public universities.
You mean about the national government? Yeah.
But political science professor Jesus Silva says these universities target people from low-income communities who would never dream of going to college.
The main purpose of this university is to give opportunity to many students who never had this opportunity to develop a career in the past.
The students at these new universities get weekly allowances that are double what is given at the traditional public universities.
The higher education institutions that were created during the Chavez era and that are aligned with Chavez's policies and political projects nowadays are the ones that receive the largest budgets, with the policies of President Nicolas Maduro, and differences can be seen.
In the aftermath of the university strike, the government accused the students and teachers of secretly being controlled by Venezuela's opposition political parties.
This is the world upside down. We are the only country that guarantees a free education, tuition plus room and food. We also have a forum so they can bring in their concerns. Instead, they have used it as an excuse to sabotage the school year for the students.
The government has refused to recognize the teachers' union, the Federación de Profesores, otherwise known as the FAPUV. The government says they are mainly a political organization because of their long affiliation with opposition groups, including supporters of a coup that in 2002 briefly removed President Chavez from power.
Yeah, they've been photographed with the main leaders of the oppositions like Maria Corina Machado, Enrique Capriles. So I think that there is a clear bond between the professors who are leading the strike and these political leaders of the opposition.
The student movement has been a powerful player in the recent past. Maduro's predecessor, Hugo Chavez, lost his only election when a referendum that would have greatly expanded his power was defeated in the polls in 2007. Student groups were largely given credit for the victory.
It's a political conflict, because here anyone who makes demands from the government is considered the opposition, and they are demonized. Regardless of the type of opposition, they are demonized.
Late last month, the FAPUV and student groups made a deal with the state in which both their salaries and monthly allowances were increased. This has slightly eased tensions. But leaders of the FAPUV and student groups are adamant that they will continue to advocate for more funding once the school year resumes in late September, despite the possibility of more violence.
There will be a student movement on the streets, showing our faces without masks so the cameras can see us, because we believe in the fight, what we're waging, and the way we're doing it.
But many other students just want to start classes and are eager to make up for the time lost during the strike.